Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the show. That matchup in Philly sure was a roller coaster. Damn. I feel like I just took a defenseless DeShazer Everett spear directly to the heart. Now, the outcome's all that matters, sure, but we saw no less than 5 lead changes in this one as Joe Barry threatened to do what Joe Barry has become known for this season. We'll talk about it. Otherwise, a W's a W. We're back on the winner's wagon as Philly drops their 4th in a row and 6th of the last 7. We're going to break it down, and we're here joined with Adam Taraski, so this should be good. Stick around. It's the Redskins 27, Philadelphia 22, and it's coming up next right here on the Hogside Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Hogside with your crew, Adam Taraski, Alex Zeese, Sean Conti, and Steve Thomas. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Hey there, everybody. It's your host, Sean freaking Conti on the mic. Glad to be here, joined as always by the intrepid Alex Zeese. Hello, sir.
Hey, I'm here, and I am happy to be here because I did not think we were going to win that one for a while.
Oh, God, you and me both, bro. Was that your take as well, Mr. Steve Thomas?
Yeah, years past, we all know what would happen. And it wouldn't have been pretty.
Yes,
so,
we do.
At least, hey, we pulled it out today.
I think it still wasn't pretty, but we pulled it out.
Yeah, no, amen to that. WCW.
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, everybody, let's give a nice welcome, by the way, to the first appearance of the one, the only, the much-rumored, almost myth-like Adam Taraski himself. Hello, Adam, man.
What's going on, guys?
Glad to have you on
He's
the
a
show,
myth
dude.
now.
This is exciting. I think we got a good game to talk about, too, for your first inaugural appearance here.
Absolutely, I agree.
So what do you guys want to do? Should we talk Skins offense here first? Steve, do you have some numbers to hit us over the head with?
Yeah. Okay, obviously the Redskins won this game 27-22. Kirk Cousins was 14 for only 21 pass attempts, which is something we're going to talk about. 234 yards, 11.1 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and then the 1 pick six. He had a quarterback rating of 116.0. Robert Kelly, running back, was 16 for 63 yards for 3.9 yards per attempt, including his 22-yard touchdown. Deshaun Jackson led all receivers with 102 yards on 3 receptions for 34.0 yards per attempt with the long of 80 yards. Pierre Garçon had a good game, 5 catches, 59 yards. Jameson Crowder had 2 catches, 37 yards, including 1 tiptoe important catch on the sidelines. Robert Kelly had 2 catches for 25 yards. Jordan Reed had a very quiet day for him. 1 catch, 10 yards. And then
Jordan Reed was playing today? Holy shit.
Yeah, he was. And then Vernon Reed had 1 catch for 1 yard. Also quite day. So that is Redskins offense for today.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, it was enough to get the job done, at least, even though our defense did everything they could to keep that one close. What jumps out to the top of your heads, everybody? I have bad stuff that jumps out, but what I guess stands out to you that was good today, offensively?
Run.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
we
Alex.
definitely focused on the run. In terms of stuff that stuck out to me that was good, I was impressed by, Jackson with that 80-yard pass. That kind of turned around the entire game for us.
He wants to play well in Philly. I think it's obvious.
Yeah, I think that's obvious. I don't know if, I wish he would act that way 16 games instead of 2, but,
Amen to that.
He definitely gets up for the Philly games.
Yeah.
Well, part of it, Kirk Cousins just has to get him the ball. I mean, that wasn't a very good pass either. He was just so wide open that it was a catch.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty bad pass. But here's what really stuck out to me. I mean, Jay this week talked about how he really wanted to dedicate himself to the run. We all rolled our eyes and went, yeah, whatever, Jay. But he actually did it, and consistently throughout the game, because the running game really wasn't working very well, but he stuck with it. And at the end of the day, we actually had more runs than passes, which has got to be some kind of record for us.
First time this season?
No, it was the second time. We had it one other game, too.
Okay.
Freak occurrence. 21 catches or passes, 23 runs, and shockingly enough, we won.
Right.
It's not an accident that happened.
Know?
So that's the major takeaway to me for at least offensive strategy. What did you see, Adam?
I thought it was a little strange. I can't remember the last time I've seen Kirk complete under 15 passes in a game. So I saw that stat at the end of the game, and I was a little shocked. But the Eagles did a good job of keeping our offense off the field, and we kind of did a good job of shooting ourselves in the foot a couple times. But we made plays when it counted. Garçon had a bunch of clutch catches, but Just
did.
kind of a grind it out, get the win when you can get a win kind of game.
Yeah.
Steve, remind me again what the total yardage we had against them was, because this was a team we went up for, I believe, 500 yards when we faced them.
Well, yeah, total yards was 234 yards passing. That's gross, not net, and then 107 yards rushing. Inside of that is 300. That's 341 yards total offense, gross, not net. If you net out the sacks, it's 227, so a little bit less, but 300 about a little under 350 yards. Yeah,
that's really low for this offense. Which is kind of surprising. I will point out a quick stat that I saw making its way on Twitter. Kirk has broken the 4,000 yard mark again. Back-to-back seasons, first Redskins player to ever do that. So
make Washington great again.
Yeah, another little pleat in his cape to say, hey, give him that $20 million plus he wants.
Yeah. And now he's undefeated against Philly as a starter, right?
I think
2 straight years undefeated against Philly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd like to, in terms of technical parts of the game, I'd like to go to O-line, because that was the major mess pre-game was O-line. We had Sullivan starting at center. We had Ari Kwanjo, our friend of the show, Ari Kwanjo, starting at left guard, and then Trent Williams coming back for the first time in 4 games, and so it had the potential to be a mess. So, Adam, just talk to us about what you saw on the O-line.
Yeah, it was definitely the O-line was in shambles when the game started, and there were a lot of question marks surrounding Sullivan, Kwanjo, all of them. But I thought Sullivan did much better in his second game, kind of knocking some of that rust off, coming in and actually getting to start. Kwanjo surprised me a little bit in pass pro. I think he did a good job anchoring down something that Laveau had trouble with his injury. They also did slide a lot of help towards Kwanjo. I noticed the center kind of chipping on him a lot, so they weren't trying to isolate him on an island the whole game. But it was really nice to have Trent back. He dominated the whole game, basically escorted Thompson into the end zone on that last touchdown. But solid performance overall. I think they gutted through the run game with some injuries, but I would say probably B+ game from them.
Yeah, I didn't think Kwanjo looked very good on the run game, run blocking necessarily. Yeah, but he certainly was pretty good on the pass blocking.
That's kind of been his MO when we've seen him. Is he? He's a rock. Yeah. He stands there, he blocks his guy just fine. He doesn't move his feet forward very well, so it's not really surprising that he struggles in the run game.
Yeah, and our offense pulls a lot, and he's not, too great at pulling. So
I saw one good pull play from him. I don't remember. It was early on in the first half, but only one.
Yeah, he can do it. It's just not his strength.
Right.
Well, I mean, you said an important point, though. He anchored pretty well in pass blocking, because how many times this year have we seen Sean Laveau just literally like moving backwards like he's on roller skates? And I didn't see that out of Kwanjo today. So, I mean, if you're Ari Kwanjo, you've got, run game aside, you've got to I think you've got to look at yourself and be fairly happy in terms of how he played for his first game ever, basically, as a pro.
Yeah, I mean, the interior played outstanding compared to the interior D linemen they were going against. Fletcher Cox, I believe, had 1 sack, and that was a coverage sack.
Yeah, he had both sacks, actually. Yeah.
But, I mean, I would say both of those were on more so the DBs covering guys and Kirk having nowhere to go with the ball than the offensive line breaking down.
Yeah, and in the run game, Rob Kelly continues to be Rob Kelly. What's great about him is that there was almost no room. It looked to me, at least my amateur eyes, looked like there was basically no room at all in the run game in between the tackles for almost the entire game. And the beauty of what Kelly does is he made 2 or 3 plays where he struggled and he fought to get back to the line of scrimmage and limit the damage on a dead play. And that's something that we haven't seen around here for a couple of years, really, since Alfred Morris was really rolling. And so I think that's the benefit, one of the benefits of Kelly.
And to that point, too, folks often make contact with him 5 yards off the line of scrimmage or 7 yards. He routinely gets that last 3, to get a first down to that same point. So, yeah, I mean, he's the kind of guy that maybe can get you a couple extra here and there when it's not given to him. So I think we've all seen that, definitely.
Yeah. I saw the announcer referred to him as spectacular 1-yard runs, which is just, he's should have been a 4-yard loss, turns it into a 1-yard gain, and that changes the whole outlook of that series, really.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Do we want to talk about stuff that didn't work necessarily on offense, or do you want to still highlight a couple things, Steve? You had that look about you.
Well, I don't know. I guess what sticks out to me is, Kirk had his ups and his downs with the deep balls again.
Yeah.
With we set it up at the top, but the deep ball, the 80-yard touchdown to Deshaun really was a terrible pass. It was underthrown. It was offline a little bit, and just Jackson is so good tracking that ball down, and he was so far out ahead that it really didn't matter. But that, if the DB had been better or faster or closer, that had potential for disaster. So I think as Kirk has continued to show that that's not really his strength, but in terms of the mid-range game today, I thought he was fairly on his game.
Fired a couple bullets.
Settled in. Yeah, he really has. I mean, the pick six wasn't a good play.
No,
the pick six was a really bad pass. He threw the ball in the wrong spot, and it had too much air on it. I can't believe he didn't see the corner on that play. But he should have thrown it to the outside shoulder, and it should have had a lot more heat on it, and it would have had a chance. But the where he threw it, at the velocity he threw it, it was just a dead-on arrival play. That was, in terms of passing game, that's my thought. He's kind of settled into. He's going to complete about 2/3 of his passes.
Right.
He does it every single week. Good, bad, otherwise, it's always about that. With the exception of the Arizona game, okay, fine.
Well, everyone has
that's kind of
an exception game, and it was Arizona. I mean,
yeah.
It's a fair comment.
But
I think he threw for more yards versus Arizona than anybody else all season. So even with his issues.
Good call out.
Yeah.
That's a good call out, Alex. That's a fair thing to bring up. I don't know. The interception was ugly. I agree. Ran back for a touchdown, obviously.
It was the WTF moment of the day for him.
Was it just, and I'd be curious if Adam saw anything specifically there, but was it just he locked into a guy and
I think he definitely wanted to go to Jackson the whole way, and he didn't really move his eyes elsewhere. But also I saw Jackson somewhat fade on the end of the route, not really come back towards the ball, which could have potentially had him break up the pass or something. But I'm not really going to put that on Jackson. That was on Kirk.
Yeah, I think if he had thrown it onto the outside shoulder, it wouldn't have been a pick six. It might have been an incomplete ball, but he threw the ball in the wrong spot, and because he kind of rainbowed it, it didn't, the ball didn't have enough velocity on it. It just wasn't a good play.
I don't think there was anyone else open on that play. None of us have gone back and looked yet, obviously, but he had a lot of pressure coming, and I think there were only 3 guys out there who could have thrown to, and no one was open, really. So,
but let's talk about his development, though. I don't want to bash him because he had a pretty good game. I'm just kind of highlighting the couple plays, but let's talk about Kirk Cousins' development because, in his old days, we would have seen that interception, pick six would have ruined the guy.
Right.
It would have been it for the game. He would have fallen apart. And not only did he not fall apart, he made a great throw to Crowder on the sidelines. That was the one that got overturned, and all that. But it was a great throw, great effort. But also, even at the beginning of this season, he was captain check down. It was flat passes to the running backs. It was short outs. It was square outs. A never-ending stream of screen passes.
Right.
And he looks a lot more like a traditional quarterback now in terms of where he goes, the routes he wants to throw to. He's really developed well in that regard to me, making me a lot more comfortable with him as a quarterback than I was last year.
I think a lot of people are in that boat with you, man. I think there's no doubt if you just think back to the Kirk the last few years, he shows more confidence under pressure, more composure. It's undeniable. He still has his stinker games. He still has his ridiculous plays, as we've pointed out. But I think solidly and consistently he's improved for sure. So his development's a fair point. It's a common trajectory. Now, whether or not he's worth the amount of millions that he might get, that might speak more to the going rate than it does his particular skill. That's always the debate, obviously. But I think no one would disagree. He's come a long way. He's gotten better. And today, offensively, we did enough to win. As you should when you put up 27 points. That more or less should be enough, which might be a good segue to talk about defense if you guys are ready, unless we want to keep talking about the offense.
Let's get into the defense because I think that was the more interesting side of the game.
I would certainly agree, and I saved my little rant certainly for the defensive side of the ball. So would you guys mind, would you indulge me if I just take a moment here to talk about something.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of defense of Joe Barry out there, guys, and he has his moments. He does some things well. I think that's definitely true. He can't keep an offense from scoring, which is really all that matters. So I just want to go through some of the top teams, period, in the NFL. These are division leaders and people with otherwise the best record. Okay, Kansas City. Their defense is ranked 30th, but they've held a team to less than 20 points 7 or more times.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas. They're ranked 18th defensively, but they've held a team to less than 20 points 7 times. Seattle. Defense ranked 9th. They've held a team to less than 20 points 8 times. Oakland, defense ranked 32nd. They've held a team to less than 20 points 5 times. So that's Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're ranked 23rd, but we have held a defense to less than 20 points only 1 time.
Right.
I think you look at the people that are doing it well in this league this year, and they're keeping opponents to less than 20 points. I don't care what Joe Barry does well. He doesn't where it counts. It's not working. So that would be my only point today. Our offense did enough, as it always does. The number 2 defense continues to, I think, play very well. And that's bailed us out. But this is the prognosis, I think, for this team. They can't keep a team from scoring. So it's a dice roll every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, it's obvious. I mean, it sounds like the announcers are all a broken record now when it comes to our third downs. And it's like, here come third down.
Oh, shit. Yep.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen this time?
happen, but you probably know because the Redskins suck.
That's right.
Yeah, you
That's
know
my
you're
John
bad
Lynch
when you're not
impression.
comfortable with the 3rd and 20.
Exactly.
All
When
right.
that makes you nervous, there's something wrong. There's
Yeah.
something.
Um,
Here goes Steve.
Philadelphia-
And now, once again, I see that look about him. And that's the rain on parade look from Steve.
well,
I know this
okay.
look.
No, I was going to go over the stats, but let's respond to your Joe Barry thing. Because I guess I've been weirdly a Joe Barry defender here, and I'm going to defend him a little bit today. And believe me, I get it. He's the leader. The defense has been terrible for the most part. They can't stop anybody.
Mhm.
The Eagles are a downright mediocre team in every way, and we let them score 22 points. I get all that, but I said this last week. Somebody tell me what defensive game plan would have been better. I saw what I saw in our defense. I saw a blitzing defense. I saw an aggressive front. I saw multiple stunts. Throughout the game, single stunts, and then they had what Adam, you'll have to tell me in detail what it meant. But I saw both outside guys stunt inside at least once today. They made an effort to put a lot of pressure on Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz scrambled really well, considering the dude is 6'6", big guy. He stepped up out of pressure multiple times. He rolled to his right several times.
No,
But he does that
athletic.
well.
I
We know
feel-
that about him. That's what he does.
I know that. I understand that. But I'm saying I fail to see what could have been done differently with our front 7 with regard to the game plan by Joe Barry. And furthermore, in the secondary, we did try something different today. Bashad Breeland played in the slot almost the entire game.
A lot of people have been
Dunbar
calling
got
for that,
torched.
by the way.
Yeah. Adam's buddy, Kendall Fuller sat for most of the game. Quentin Dunbar played outside and got toasted.
And they got
He
smoked a
didn't look
couple
any better.
times.
Yeah, he didn't look any better than Fuller. But
Yeah.
we made changes to the defensive backfield to account for our weaknesses, and the game plan with the front 7 was pretty good. So for those of you who hate Joe Barry, tell me what could have been done differently.
But
We
here's
have
what I
poor
don't. But here's what I don't get about your point, Steve. Because what offense isn't going to do that? You're not like you think the Redskins are facing something unique to the Philadelphia offense. No, teams are going to do that. And when I look at, say, the Philadelphia defense, for example, they have the same talent deficiencies. Their defense is competent in every place that we are not.
we outscored them. We did 22 points isn't
That's
a
number
ton
two
of points. 22
Well,
points
no.
isn't a ton of points.
No, but I just went through all those stats. The top teams in the league, they're able to hold a team to less than 20 more consistently than we are by like 5 times as much.
And I understand that, but our talent deficiency is for real on this team, though. It is for real. Will Compton went out of the game halfway through the game. We were down to our third string linebacker there. Martrell Spate played. He hadn't played all year basically.
Yeah.
Well, at least we
it's-
had a long snapper.
That's
He had a long snapper.
um,
So yeah,
Can I make one point? One thing that I thought
Yes.
was really interesting, if you were listening to the play-by-play guys, John Lynch, who I think came across as very much a Joe Barry defender the entire time, because he played for him. He kept on saying, "Well, look, these guys aren't doing the right thing when it comes to covering receivers. Like they're playing them outside when they need to be playing them inside, and little things here and there." And like you can say that's on the players, but if it's not
every
just
player's
Breeland,
making that mistake,
if it's not just Fuller, if it's not just Dunbar, whoever is in the slot doesn't seem to know how to play slot receiver or slot corner. Sorry,
there you go.
That's on the coaches. If you can't teach one guy how to be a good slot corner, and you primarily play this weird nickel defense 60+% of the time, that's a pretty important thing that you should have going for you.
Well, remember we don't have a slot corner. Adam, tell us what you see from your expert opinion on all of this, because we're just a bunch of dummies arguing about this. We don't know what the heck we're talking about, but you actually do. So tell us.
I thought Breeland did a decent job in the slot. I thought he did a good job jamming people at the line, getting physical, kind of disrupting them off their route.
He was there in the second half.
Yeah.
You can pick on him for that first half all you like, but the second half he improved.
Well, he got hurt a couple times, but that was when he was on the outside, and he gave him, inside leverage when he was supposed to give him outside leverage, stuff like that. But I definitely think Greg Toller should be the outside guy if we're going to put Bashad at the slot. I think he's a much more qualified cover corner than Dunbar is. Dunbar cannot cover people down the field. He looks lost when they throw deep. His reactions late on comebacks. So, I think Toller's a pretty solid cover corner, and I think we're not really using him until the last 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah.
Which surprised.
Well, talk to us about what you see and how our defensive line has been playing.
Well, today was interesting because I don't know if you guys noticed, but on first and second down, they would play Matt Ioannidis, and then they would bring Baker in to rush the passer on third down a lot of times. And they were playing Ioannidis pretty much solely at nose tackle. And he did a decent job kind of staying stout, didn't really push the pocket whatsoever, but he made a couple stops. I thought Ricky Jean-Francois had an outstanding game. I think he had 2 or 3 tackles for loss. Mm-hmm. He was far and away our best defensive lineman today. I thought Kerrigan had a great game. The pressure was there. He didn't make it count a couple times like he's done in a couple weeks, but that sack pretty much sealed the deal for us. I think it was open season on who wins that game until that sack. So I think they did enough. I don't think they played well as they have all year, but I think they did enough.
Speaking of Kerrigan sacks, there was one play in the first quarter. I don't think I've ever seen this where Kerrigan had Wentz sacked, and his offensive lineman was basically holding him up by the shoulder until Wentz could get rid of the ball. I've never seen it's like having a literal human crutch for the quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's do stats real fast because I didn't go over them. Carson Wentz was 32 for 46, 314 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 86.7 quarterback rating. Ryan Matthews, 15 carries, 60 yards, which is 4.0 yards per carry. Receiving, Zach Ertz had a tremendous game, 10 catches, 112 yards, including the long 29. Jordan Matthews, 8 receptions, 79 yards. Trey Burton had 7 catches, 65 yards, and 1 long snap. And it goes down from there. In terms of defense, Mason Foster had 12 tackles for us. Duke Iheanacho had 8 tackles. Dante Whitner had 8, including 7 solo. And it goes down from there. The aforementioned.
So a linebacker was our leading was our tackle leader.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
awesome.
mean,
yeah.
Believe it or not, Foster and Compton have led a lot of weeks.
Well,
Compton's top 10 in tackles
all
in the league.
season.
Yeah.
Compton,
he's been our leading tackle all season.
Yeah, he's got like
surprised
80-some tackles, I think.
We're surprised about Foster, certainly. I think Wentz and Ertz, who the announcer that I was watching kept continually calling Entz, so it was Entz and Wentz for some reason. Ertz has not, I don't think, had a fantastic year to this point. Wentz started the year really well, but has been pretty trash since the beginning of the year, particularly the last few weeks. Both of those guys came out in the first half of this game and played particularly well. Better, I think, they've been playing for the last few weeks, so I don't know if that's just them trying to get a win here or if that's just more Joe Barry problems exemplified, but they both came out and played pretty damn well at the beginning of this game.
I think you also have to factor in the fact that Cravens has a partial or a full shoulder separation or something.
Well,
that he
that's
got,
such a bummer.
Torn
It was a
bicep.
par- it
or,
was a
sorry,
torn bicep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
So brutal.
he got that
Brutal.
really early in the game, and I think in the first drive he was the one who was on Ertz.
You mean
And-
Ents?
Yeah, Ertz.
It's
I should wear my Ent T-shirt.
Yeah.
So
No, there's no
that's
doubt
probably a
that's gonna help.
factor.
Absolutely. That's going to help.
Well, it certainly is a factor because when we're talking about tight ends, obviously the linebackers primarily cover the tight ends, and we've talked forever about the athletic limitations of our inside linebackers on this show.
Sure.
Adam's shaking his head. What do you see in our inside linebackers, Adam?
Well, coverage-wise, it's just very, very sad, upsetting to watch. Foster is just a statue of a man out there in coverage. I like Spate in coverage more than I like Compton, to be honest. I think he does a good job dropping back in the hook curl area, and he does a much better job coming up physically and laying the boom on people. If I was the defensive coordinator, I would have been starting Martrell Spate all year. I don't think Compton deserves to start.
Can we, by the way, we didn't
Even though
really
he's a
introduce
tackle
you.
leader? Wow.
Yeah, he makes tackles, but he gets dragged for 5 yards. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't
Don't
really
trust
give you a
him.
chance to give the audience your background. We know your background, but we never really told the audience, your football resume. So why don't you give us a little bit of your football resume, Adam?
I didn't start playing football until I was about 14, 15 years old, my freshman year of high school. Got recruited by a handful of Division I schools, ended up committing to Virginia Tech. Played there for 3 years, and then ended up having to step away for some family problems, I don't want to say family problems, family issues that I had to take care of. I've watched a ton of film, been around football for a long time, so I think I have a certain expertise, if you will.
And you are an offensive lineman, correct?
That is correct. I played every position on the offensive line.
So, I guess going back to the defense though, real quick, and really this is kind of more of a special teams question. Everett had the big interception in the end zone for us early on, and then had what probably could have gotten him ejected. Those 2 special teams hits.
Call him the Eagle Slayer.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think?
He was brutal.
I don't think they ejected him from the game, but if
No,
you're the
they
coach, what do? Do you sit him down after that second one on Sproles?
It really wasn't it really wasn't to me as bad a thing as it seemed.
That
Because
was
really
nasty
what happened
on
was,
Sproles.
well,
The ball
but
wasn't
it was
even there, Steve.
It was
He
a
lit 'em
football
up.
play. He mistimed it by a split second. If it had been a split second later, it would have been probably a blow to the head, but it wouldn't have been such a awful looking play. I don't think Deshazor Everett was being dirty on that play. I think he really just kind of mistimed what he was doing more than anything.
Yeah, they didn't even call him for unnecessary roughness on that play. They called him for fair catch interference or punter interference, whatever they called it. So
Right.
I think it was, like you said, Steve, just kind of a bang-bang play that he mistimed, and it's definitely unfortunate that he hit Sproles in the head or neck area and could have hurt him, but I think it's just something you sit him down and say you got to be smarter than that.
Okay.
It was a
Boston,
bang
you'd
bang
understand it.
play in 2 ways. One, it was a missed time, and 2, the first bang was Everett into Sproles, and the second bang was Sproles' brain into the side of his skull
Oh, yeah.
as it slammed into the ground. I
It was
I
a
understand what you guys
brutal
are saying.
play. Well,
It was
mean-
nasty. That's a nasty hit you don't want to see someone take. I hate seeing anybody take that.
But also remember, Everett was the gunner on the play.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know, the gunner's job is, if you've never done this before, the gunner's job is to run down the field and hit the first person he finds, basically, and make a beeline to the returner.
Right.
How you cover returners is everybody has a lane, and you kind of stay in the lane, and then you converge on the ball carrier. The gunner's supposed to go straight there, and that's what he was doing. And it's a really violent play. It's a really violent
highest
position.
propensity of injuries happen on that play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it looked worse than it was. That's all. I'm not really trying to defend him. He deserved.
Sounded
penalty.
worse than it was, too.
Oh yeah.
It was loud on the mics.
Yeah, an audible smash in the stadium.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good
I
to
mean-
see him get up though and run off on his own.
I
power.
Yeah,
think the
definitely.
the hit he had in the previous special teams play where he injured Selleck was also very much just an accidental.
Yeah, I don't think that should have been a penalty.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't
I
look
think
like
he
he
just
went
I
for
just
the
think
head.
he hit him and he was blocking him. It wasn't like he was
Right.
out of the play or anything. He was chasing the return man. So
Yeah.
I think that one was a bad call.
But I mean, he took out two guys in one game, which
Yeah.
I guarantee you the Eagles fans will remember that next year.
Well, yeah, and I mean, let's not
Sure.
forget what happened because of that. Selleck's absolutely terrible snap, like a couple plays later,
Huge.
that cost them that field goal, those 3 points. So, yeah.
You gotta listen. We got a break. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Brent Snellick bad snap equals we win the game to a certain extent.
It was
So, I mean,
a
I'll take
game of
it.
attrition in terms of injuries. It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And actually, while we're on the topic of special teams, did we talk about Hopkins yet?
No.
We
No.
have not.
What's going on with him? Anybody got any insights there? 7 on the year missed, I think it is.
He's in
That's
a
kind of
slump.
rough.
What can you say? What
Yeah.
can you say? He's having a slump. I mean, you go through that. I don't know if it's getting in his head at this point or what.
Right.
He's not had a good year. I don't think we ought to just cut him. I mean, the Redskins, the NFL's littered with former Redskins kickers that we cut that went on to outstanding careers. And so,
yeah, play in the
I
Super
mean, I
Bowl
think-
and win them, for example.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they let him play through it. Maybe they'll bring competition in for him during training camp.
Mhm.
But I think people need to not panic and call for his head because that's just an overreaction to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you do it in off season. You look around, but
See what's there.
yeah, see what's there. You're not gonna find, a stud kicker right now at this point of the year. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Also, he's a really good kickoff specialist.
he is.
I don't know what exactly his number is of touchbacks, but he puts it in the second row.
It's in the 70s.
most
They
kickoffs.
showed it really early in the game. It
Yeah.
was like high 70s.
Yeah,
And-
that's,
Yeah,
we-
it's a lot.
We're coming from the opposite of that, and I don't think anyone wants to go back to that. We had a really accurate guy who couldn't kick off, do kickoffs. So,
Yeah.
Cobra
yeah,
Kai.
maybe he's in a slouch, but he can hold on. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and I also like to point out, by the way, that the guy we loved last year, Tress Way, is having a bad season at punter. He's way down the rankings, in terms of yards per punt, also. So it's just not really been a good kicking year for the Redskins.
we also
Still
haven't
weird
had to
kicking
punt
year.
that much.
No, we
Yeah.
haven't. We
Me
haven't
too.
had to punt that much. Thankfully, it's probably
And,
good.
even further on that point, and I haven't analyzed it or anything, but since we are really low when it comes to 3 and outs, I'm assuming we're punting from midfield a lot more often. So that's going to shorten
Yeah,
your
that's a
net,
good point.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, you're
I
right.
think-
I mean, there's reasons for it. You can't look at anything in a vacuum,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. I think it's been a weird kicking year around the league, too. I don't think Hopkins is the only person to fall victim to it. So
No,
that would
it
actually be an
has.
interesting stat to know about.
This is totally off topic, but speaking of kicking, who here likes the new extra point rule? I hate it. I don't like having the extra point back on what is it, the 30, whatever it is.
It's
Yeah, I
15
think it's
yards.
I
like
hate
10
that.
yards
It's-
back.
It's a
10.
Yeah,
novelty,
I don't know what was-
feels like.
I don't know what was wrong with kicking it from the 3. It was a 15-yard kick. I don't know what was wrong with that in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't like it. That's just
Well,
I don't
they
mind
wanted
it.
to.
I mean-
Well, I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead. I think they wanted to
No, I was
entice
just-
people, right, to take more opportunities or take more chances, right?
Yeah, I think that was part of it, but I think it was just kind of make you earn the extra point, so it's not really just a gimme anymore, and it's made for a bunch of close games here at the end of some big time ball games.
yeah, I know, but I mean, it's only a point.
They wanted.
If I mean,
Yeah, but you can lose by a point.
1 point is. Yeah, I know. I mean, my point is 1 point shouldn't be that hard to make. Extra points should be fairly easy to make. I
Well,
don't know.
35-yard kick shouldn't be that hard. I think kickers have declined quite a bit in recent years.
That's probably true. But
We're
we're off topic.
coddling this young generation of kickers here,
Yeah,
turning them into little.
they don't make
sissy-
them like they used to.
That's right. Oh man.
Back in
Well,
the
I don't know,
rivalry
guys.
days, that you would kick it in a straight line and like it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They're all coddled millennials.
No,
That's
they're
right.
kickers, Steve. They're all in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah, although
Stuff-
Steve, I'll remind you, the older generation of
Stuff-
kickers used to wear steel-toed boots, I believe, and that
It's true.
let's remember. At
Some of
least
them
our
kick barefoot though. Some of them kick barefoot.
in the
Oh,
cold
yeah, I
up
remember
there.
Got to do.
I remember one or two guys
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if we're ready to move on, but we can do some game balls if you guys feel so inclined and ready to go.
Sure.
Anybody want to volunteer to give the first ball out? I'll do it if I really have to.
I'll volunteer.
do it. No, you did it last time. I'll fall on the grenade.
Steve volunteers as tribute. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Deshaun Jackson.
D-Jax.
Yeah, it's his latest homecoming. He wanted to do something spectacular. In against the Eagles, and he did. He had the long catch. And he made a great catch on the sideline. Drug the foot, all that stuff. On the play that was challenged. So I'm gonna go with D-Jax. There's some honorable mentions out there, but he's mine.
Sure. Well, I think that's a fair game ball to give. Al, what you got?
I'll go next, and I'm gonna go onto the other side of the receiving corps and go with Pierre Garçon.
Yeah.
He had a lot of clutch plays there, and he actually caught a fade pass for the first time in Redskins season history.
That's right. And it was a beautiful one.
Right. Now, it wasn't a jump ball fade pass. People have been
it
pointing
was
that out.
almost more of a wheel route without an outside route coming across.
Right. But
any kind of corner pass that's completed, corner end zone pass is a miracle for us.
Yeah, that's a unicorn for us.
That's right. Well, I'll go next. We'll save our expert for last because no doubt he's smarter than us. So I'm going to say you know what? I'm going to just yeah, I know you heard that heavy sigh. I'm gonna go with Alex on this and say Pierre as well. Been solid all year, frankly. I really like Deshaun Jackson's game this week as well, but I feel kind of bad giving him a game ball because he's been kind of silent. And also, there's too many conversations going on right now about him playing again in Philadelphia next year. So I'm not going to give him the game ball. I'm going to give it to Pierre as well. I think he might end up being the guy we retain and certainly put in a good one today.
I hope so. Yeah, you guys kind of stole my thunder. I was going to go Pierre as well. I thought he made a bunch of really clutch catches that I think it was 4th and 3 at the end of the game. If we don't make that catch, that's probably the end of the game right there.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and go with Josh Norman.
Nice.
I think when he's doing a good job when you don't hear his name for the entire game because he just completely wipes out an entire side of the field. And he had a nice pass breakup on the 2-point conversion. So,
I'm pretty sure
I'm going Josh Norman.
They even tried him.
Yeah, I think they only had one target, and that was a busted play, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a good game.
I'll have you folks that know at home too know that we don't always agree on the game balls. So just because 2 or 3 of us, 2 of us said the same thing, we don't typically agree on these. So
half the time we're making it up on the spot.
Oh, that's right.
We're always making them. I also like to give an honorable mention to Ryan Kerrigan for the play of the game, which was the sack at the end. So I didn't think he played well enough to get game ball necessarily, but he had a good game. He put a lot of pressure. He got really close several times. But because I've been complaining in recent weeks about the fact that the Redskins don't get consistent pressure on the quarterback. They get their 1 or 2 sacks a game. But then the quarterback basically has a clean pocket other than that. And today they had good pressure on Wentz, a good bit of the game. And he escaped pressure, but it affected the plays. So Ryan Kerrigan,
he had a very athletic sack at the beginning of the game too. Absolutely, kind of twisted around and made an ankle tackle there on Wentz. So, yeah, it was a good game. Okay, sweet. Well, you heard it here first, folks. We'll be back with you throughout the week with our written content. Obviously, that's getting expanded out majorly, so make sure you are following that. Do we want to go over any injury news before we let the intrepid listeners go today?
Real fast. We didn't have too many. Compton had a knee. He sat out for the game. Sua Cravens had a partially torn bicep early in the game, and then Mac Brown had a concussion, and that was it. Injuries.
There you go. Not too bad. Not as bad.
I believe Cravens can play through the arm injury, though, from what I've read.
Torn bicep?
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. Really?
Terrell Suggs is playing with a torn bicep right now.
Isn't that what, oh my God, Arakpo? I was brain farting on Arakpo. Wasn't he always dealing with bicep problems? Or was that pectoral problems?
Pectoral.
Pectoral problems. Okay, never mind.
Somebody played through a torn bicep, though. We've had that. I can't remember who it was. But
Philip Daniels?
That's why you're not.
It was Landry.
Landry did. Yeah, that sounds right.
He had torn biceps. Had you ever seen that motherfucker's biceps?
He's got a biceps to spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely does.
And
all
all
right,
natural,
anyway.
No HGH whatsoever involved in that.
But yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, wink, wink.
Nothing sketchy there. All right, well, we'll let everybody at home go. We'll let you have your wonderful weeks. Like I said, keep checking back with us because we've got all kinds of new content coming soon. But in the meantime, we'll see you over the interwebs and then back on the podcast next week. Take care.